Mom, you made the whole Alola region.
I'm Elise Strachan from My Cupcake Addiction, and today I'm excited to be partnering with Nintendo to celebrate the launch of the new Pokémon Sun and Pokémon Moon games, available in stores from November 18th. I'm going to show you how to make an interactive, smoking, bubbling cupcake map of the Alola region. The tropical islands of the Alola region are filled with new Pokémon to discover and catch, including new legendary Pokémon. Solgaleo is the new legendary Pokémon from Pokémon Sun, and Lunala is from Pokémon Moon. The Island Challenge is an adventurous ride that involves traveling through each of the 4 islands. This event helps young people grow into better Pokémon trainers. As the main character of Pokémon Sun and Pokémon Moon, each player is destined to attempt this Island Challenge. To make your edible Alola map, you're going to need buttercream frosting. I've got mine in white, blue, green and brown, and I've also got all of those colors of food coloring so that I can deepen the color along the way. You'll need marshmallows, dark candy melts, ice cream cones, small plastic containers, pretzel sticks, crushed graham crackers, snap-seal bags, a couple of assorted piping tips and some toothpicks. I'm using 40 chocolate cupcakes on a 20-inch cake board, some red and orange candy melts, and some dried ice for our smoking effect. Our Alola region map would not be complete without some of our main characters and legendary Pokemon from Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. So I've made you guys a printable template as well as templates for your islands so you can gauge size. I'll leave links to everything that you need down below, as well as all of the ingredients, quantities and conversions that you'll need to recreate this amazing pull-apart Pokemon Sun and Moon inspired cake at home. Position your cupcakes in a big circle and then put a little frosting on the bottom of each just to stick them to the board. Once those guys are stuck to the board, you can take your little templates and you just want to position them in roughly the right spots for where they're going to go on your map. I'm going to take my little tubes and just under where I know a volcano is going to be, I'm going to stick one of the tubes to the board using a little bit of melted dark candy melt. You can remove your templates and then add in marshmallows to any of the little gaps. Hidden surprises all the way through this cake. I've got a really light blue frosting to start, and I'm going to go around my outside edges and just pipe around the outside and then some kind of patches in the middle. After I've done my first color, I'm going to add a little more food coloring to my frosting to darken it down, pipe a few more patches, then a little more food coloring to make an even darker blue for some more patches. I'm going to swirl them all together using an offset spatula, so I've still got an ocean effect, but what I'm getting is a bunch of different shades of blue to make it really look like the waters of the Alola region. I printed the Islands of Alola onto edible printing paper, which you can order online if you don't have an edible printer at home, or you can pipe around these details by hand, but this is much faster. So I'm going to stick my little islands down onto my map of Alola. I'm going to use a piping tip and just cut around it to make sure I've got a nice little hole to sit over the test tube. Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon can only be played on the Nintendo 3DS. So we're going to make our Alola region map 3D-esque. You want to take a serrated edge knife and we're just going to cut the sugar cone so we've got a nice open gap at the top, and we're going to make 2 different sized volcanoes and then a little ring for a geyser. Don't worry if they crack a little bit here, these are volcanoes. The rougher they are, the better they'll look. Because my last rock formation or volcano is quite long and wide, I'm going to use a spare cupcake, so you'll need 41, pull off the wrapper, and then I'm going to cut it with a serrated knife on a downward angle. It's kind of going to make that long oval shape. You want to take a spoon and cover all of those in chocolate, but make it really drag down the sides so that it looks kind of ridgy and rocky, and make sure that you leave the holes open for your volcanoes that are going over those little test tubes or those little plastic containers. Let those completely set and then use a little bit of your red and orange candy melt to add some lava-esque detailing to your medium-sized volcano, and then some white and blue frosting just in a zip seal bag to add like the ice caps from our dormant volcano. I'm going to rest those up now onto my map and sit them in place. And then I'm going to take a pretzel and I'm just going to cut a little tip off my green snap seal bag and pipe almost like a tree top on the top. Don't go too heavy on this. Pop that into your little island and then use that same snap seal bag to just kind of make little raised tree tops wherever you see that darker green on your map. You can stick the little craters down and then just edge them with a bit of brown frosting. I'm going to brush the beaches with just a tiny bit of water and then just sprinkle over a little bit of that graham cracker crumb so that it affixes to the wet parts of the map. Kind of looks like a little beach. Finally, I'm going to use some brown frosting in a snap seal bag with a tiny tip cut off to just edge around the little rocks that kind of outline the lagoons around each island and give a bit of detail to the base of the tree. Of course, the Alola region wouldn't be complete without Pokemon. Print out your Pokemon template and cut around your Pokemon. I used heavy grade paper and attached each to a toothpick with a little tape. Solgaleo is the new legendary Pokemon from Pokemon Sun, and Lunala is from Pokemon Moon. I've also made my 3 starter Pokemon, Rowlet, Litten, and Poplio. As you begin your adventure, you'll get to choose one of 3 partners. Rowlet, the grass type and flying type Pokemon, Litten, the fire type Pokemon, and Poplio, the water type Pokemon. For your smoking volcano effect, remove your 2 medium volcanoes so you can access your test tubes, and then you want to place in a nice little chunk of dry ice. It's important to understand that dry ice should never be touched with bare hands, and if you're under the age of 18, you should get help from an adult before using dry ice. Those complete test tubes, including the dry ice and liquid, must be removed from this cake before serving. Put your volcanoes back in place. This is always the best part. I'm going to use a squeeze bottle and just fill them 3/4 of the way full with hot water. The volcanoes of the Alola region are bubbling and smoking, and this map of the Alola region has really come to life. Hope you guys enjoyed watching today's Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon inspired tutorial. I also made these really cool dissolving Pokemon Pokeball desserts over on the My Cupcake Addiction YouTube channel. I'll leave a link down below if you want to check that one out. A big thanks to Nintendo for partnering with me on today's video. The Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon games are available from November the 18th, both in stores and in the Nintendo eShop. Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon are 2 games that will definitely take you on an exciting adventure to catch, battle, and trade all new Pokemon.